Alright, hello and welcome to this walkthrough of how to install Docker on Ubuntu. The first thing we want to do is just go ahead and navigate to your browser and then type Docker Ubuntu in your search engine, whatever search engine you're using, and just navigate over to the Docker documentation. For me, as you can see here, I already selected installation per distro and then install on Ubuntu, which is what I'm trying to do. If we navigate a little bit down to the OS requirements, you see there's prerequisites to it, which is you need a 64-bit version of Ubuntu, and you also need to have one of the following. So you need to be running one of the following, Ubuntu versions. So let's, in case you don't know how to do or check your version, we can quickly just open up the terminal and just do lsb_release-a. And that will kind of give you your version. And as you can see, I'm running 2204, which meets the requirements. The next thing you want to make sure here is if you do have an older version of Docker, you want to try to remove it. And you can issue this command in the terminal as well. Just copy it and just paste it in there, and it will do the rest for you. So there's 3 ways you can install Docker on Ubuntu. We're going to select the recommended approach by the Docker team, which is to set up the Docker repositories, and in the future that will help us if we need to do any upgrades as well. If you navigate down to the install using the repository, which is the recommended approach, so the first thing we want to do is set up the repository. So what we're just going to follow along here, and I'll point out anything that needs to be pointed out. So the first thing we'll do is a quick sudo apt-get update, as they're indicating here. I'll just enter my password. So I just entered the first command here. All is good. I'm just going to do a quick clear. And next thing, just to make sure don't have any typos, I just copied this second command, right click and paste, and click enter. And it's just going to say, yeah, do you want to do that? Yes, I do. Okay. I'm just going to do a quick clear of the screen. The next thing we want to do is we want to add Docker's official GPG key. So we're just going to copy the first command here and then navigate back to our terminal. Quick. That should have created a key rings. And next thing we want to do is copy the second command there. That's it. That's the second item. And the last thing they're asking us to do here in setting up the repository is the following command. So again, I just copied it and pasted it, and then that's it. Alright, so now it's time to actually install. So now we set up the repository, so now we're going to install the Docker engine. So again, they're asking us to say, let's go ahead and do another sudo apt-get update. And I'll do a quick clear of the screen again. Now, before we issue the second command here, what I want to point out, and this is something you may want to do or may not want to do. It depends on your situation. Here, when we issue this particular command, it's gonna essentially go out and get the latest version of Docker engine and install it on our system. Now, if for whatever reason you want to do something different, like you don't want the latest version, you want something older, then you can search through. After we've added the keys, of course, earlier, you can search through the the Docker cache to see if there's an older version that you want to install. And once you issue this command in the terminal, it will give you the same output that you see down here, which is this section of the grayed out. And instead of issuing this command up here, once you pick on which version you want to install, then essentially what you do is in the Docker CE here, as you can see on the top, we're not specifying what version we want to install. You just specify, you put an equal, and then you specify the version. You just copy this part as they're indicating down here, and you repeat that for the CLI as well. But I'm not going to do that because I want the latest version. So I'm just going to copy this command, navigate back to the terminal, press enter. It's going to tell me it's going to install that. It's about 469 megabytes, and I'm just going to say yes, and I'm just going to let it go. It shouldn't take too long to finish. Okay, so after it's done doing that, which is just finished right now, I'm just going to clear the screen just so we get more space. They ask you to run this following command just to verify, to verify the Docker is actually properly installed. Now we can do another thing. We can go docker dash version, and it should tell us that we're running this particular version, which is fine because this is like if you issue this command and you haven't installed Docker or Docker is not there, it's not gonna it's just gonna output command is not found. Now you can definitely run this, but I don't want to install this this particular hello world image, so I'm just gonna skip over that. Now the following thing we want to do here, and this is optional if you want or not, I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says next steps. And I'm going to click on the post installation steps for Linux. And the reason I'm doing that is what will happen is Docker is going to be, it's going to be running right now because we just installed it. But what if we, let's say, restart the system again on a different, at a different time, or restart the system, it might not be start. So then you have to start it and do all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to have to bother in doing that. So I wanted to start on boot. So whenever I start my system, I want Docker to start. Now, if you don't want that, then you don't have to do it. You can skip this step that I'm doing. But I'm going to do it because I want Docker to start on my system boot. So again, I'm just going to do whatever, issue the commands that are down there. Systemctl enable docker.service. And it's that's finished. So then we're going to issue the second command there. Enable container .service. That's it. So now the Docker is going to be starting. So whenever I start the system, it's going to start. Now, if for whatever reason you want to disable that feature again, it's right underneath it. So they tell you here if you don't want that, then you can just issue a disable instead of the enable that we've done before, and that will disable it. And that's essentially really all I do when I set up Docker. Now I will make a different walkthrough of how to install different images for different purposes. But for the purpose of this walkthrough, this is how I set up Docker on my system. And thank you for watching.